was not discussed, because when I sat here and said, who's in charge of this committee? Who is in charge of the revitalization committee? No one could say. Superintendent would say, nobody could say. And at one point, even Tommy Saylor was in charge of the committee. So it was not set up appropriately to be transparent and to get information. And where we're at right now, we need to look, and I said this a few weeks ago, resource allocation, where we are as a district, where is our budget? Not just closing Kennedy, but how we're going to build up a program so that people actually want to stay here, believe in what we're doing. We show that our scores are going up, that the kids are getting the curriculum that they need, because there's a lot of bad press out there. In my opinion, every time we have a town hall with the public and we don't have our ducks in a row, if you will, we lose people. And I don't want to lose any more people, and I think we need a town hall meeting amongst ourselves, a public meeting where we're having the discussion we're having now, but district-wide. What's our strategic plan? What do we want our district to look like? How are we going to grow? Not constantly be on the end of, we've got to make this decision now. We have no choice. We've got to do it now. We've got to do it before the middle of April, because if we're going to close the school, it's got to be done. What about a full year of discussion before we even get to that point? And I'm sorry, you don't go buy a house and I say, I've got a really nice house for you, but you don't need to look at it. You don't need to know how much it costs. You don't need to know what your neighbors are like. Just trust me. You need to buy this house.
A lot of numbers are
Trust me, you need to buy the idea that we're closing Kennedy. And I had a discussion with Mr. Williams also, and we shouldn't be having sidebar discussions. This is where we do the work of the board. All 7 people in administration. We don't have sidebar discussions, and I'm sorry, I believe you were privy to discussions about revitalization committee that the rest of us didn't get that information. So you might have information that I've never heard.
I will repeat what I said. The data was presented on multiple occasions. Some of those, the worst meetings that you mentioned you weren't at the meeting because you were at a Wayne County Review, but that was information that was presented as part of that. So again, we've had multiple meetings, and again, we're advocating the same thing, guys, talking more as a group and as a community. I cannot stress that enough. So let's continue to do that. I think that's what Mr. Williams is advocating as well.
Well, that's why I put it on.
But it's in 2 parts to discuss amongst ourselves. And if that is in front of the town hall, great, but not to engage the community until we've reached a decision on where we want to go.
But this is an open meeting. The community is welcome here. Having it in a different forum, I do not see that much difference, frankly. That's where I'm struggling, quite honestly.
Well, and to all of your points, I appreciate the dialogue tonight, because if I get a call from Jamie, or if I get a call from Tom, or if I get a call from Debbie, those are individual discussions where you're sharing your perspective from the task force meetings that happened, or Tom, you're sharing yours, or Debbie, you're sharing what you recall. And those are very helpful. But my challenge is, and why I wanted it, and I keep putting stuff like this on the superintendent update or to come up there another one, is I am not going to be as effective, the superintendent, for you without this collective discussion and steering. And so I take that steering from the majority of the board, and that's going to help. That's going to help me plan tomorrow. It's going to help me plan next week, next month, the rest of the spring. And so once I have that collective focus, then I'm going to put all of my waking energy into whatever that is. And so if that is, we need to gather more information, then that's what I'm going to do. If it is, we need to schedule community forums and have a really complete and thorough presentation, that's what I'm going to do. If it's no, we're not scheduling forums, we need to have a kind of a reassessment of the facts and figures and update, then I'm going to get to work with Penny and get to work with Dan Cresbaugh on enrollment projections, get to work with Leanne, and we'll bring those pieces back. So, definitely, my work is at your direction, and the power of this discussion is it's the direction of the board, and so kind of to I can't remember who just said it, but those individual conversations with me are important, but they don't drive that direction. But I do hear you, hear that feedback when you call. And I hear that, you know, in order for us to be that maximally effective body, I want to make sure that regardless of the viewpoint, whether you're for or against something, that really is irrelevant. It's about, let's get the discussion out so we can have a good discussion, and then from that, I'll take majority direction and plan in a way that is effective.
And I'd like to just say that I'm not privy to any of this, and I haven't seen any financials, so I'd like to see the financials of what the savings would be, if there's going to be savings, no savings. I need to see that as a board member, because I'm not privy to any of this data.
I'm with Pam on that one. I come in, and all I'm getting is he said, she said from the public, I'm getting he said, she said from the board, and I do got, you know, I agree with both of your points, but I will tell you, at the end of the day, we got to talk as a board and get everything on track instead of just saying, hey, we got to do this, we got to do that. We got to do something.
Well, we do, because
The bottom
enrollment
line.
is declining. That we know.
Exactly.
It's been doing it for years and years and years.
But what are we building for new schools, and we have to have a discussion in the back about TVLA, our, you know, one of our newest endeavors. But the two things that I wrote down, we need to focus on resource allocation. That includes the bond. We did the bond in reverse. You normally have a plan of how you're going to use that money. Ours was generic, so we're using it for transportation and technology and buildings and sites, but there was no plan to say X, Y, and Z roof would be done, and these are the parameters. And I'm telling you, there are a lot of people in this district that thought that if they voted for both the millage and the bond, that Kennedy would not close. There are people out there that are adamant that that's how they voted, and we need to be careful on how we move forward with this and how we give this information to the community that we decide on, because this is in my opinion, the straw that could break the camel's back. We could be in a spiral and can't recover from finances if we don't do this correctly. And so we have to look at resource allocation, and one of the things that I asked Ben, I've been told that at Taylor Parks, we put in a new boiler system in the building. We did not bust walls, we put pipes and stuff on the outside of walls. So I'm not killing the messenger, but the Kennedy bid that we got is to replace what we have there. Not the most efficient way to do that, and possibly not go to the old pipes, but build new pipes in soffits and what have you. I'm not the expert, but I'm being told by people who know more than I do about it that there's questions about moving forward with closing Kennedy, and whether open windows in the building are creating drafts that our people are saying are related to a boiler not working, and a lot of things going on, in my opinion, shenanigans, that is that building really as bad as it is? Show me it's really as bad as it is, because I'm being told that that might not necessarily be true. Is it true? Is it not? Does anybody here know that? So when we schedule a meeting, walkthrough at Truman, let's schedule a walkthrough at Kennedy, and let's educate ourselves there, invite the community, invite people here, but it's all about a strategic plan, resource allocation, and making it work. Not getting it so far down the road that the board can't turn back, not getting the 4 votes from 4 board members and moving forward with something before there's 7 board discussion out here in public. That's all I'm saying, and I'm sorry that I've been so vocal, but I'm just frustrated with 16 years of sitting here and doing this. I can give you the list of the shenanigans and how stuff gets voted on and pushed through, and data half there, half not. I'm just tired of it, and this is not how we proceed for the future if we're going to be this group here working together.
I agree with you, Debbie, and I think you're 100% right. We need to do a walkthrough on both schools and open our eyes to what needs to be done at Truman instead of just throwing a piece of paper in front of us and saying, this is what we're telling you needs to be done.
And part of closing the sixth grade academy was, what's the plan for the building? If we have that building closed for 3 years, we have to build an elevator. We know that's not gonna happen. So, in effect, are we saying we're just bulldozing the building? Or do we have a use and a plan for that building? It's all part of resource allocation and looking at the whole picture. That's the job of this board and superintendent and cabinet working together. It's that big overall picture, and the details need to at least be discussed at some level.